Parish Commissioner. Okay. Order roll call, Mr. Spears.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Baker.
Here.
Mr. Cox. Here. Mr. Dominic. Present. Mr. Epson. Here. Mr. Escaday. Here. Mr. Jenkins. Present. Mr. Lynn. Present. Mr. Lynch.
Here.
Mr. Pellick. Mr. Pearson. Present. Mr. Smith. Here. Mr. Thibodeau. Here. Have four, Madam President.
Okay. Let us stand for the prayer by Commissioner Baker, the pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Thibodeau. Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you for allowing us another opportunity to come together, Father God, to make decisions for your people. Pray and ask that you will touch our hearts and our minds, that we will open up, Father God, to hear you, that we will make the right decision for your people. We thank you for our presence. Thank you for our safety. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Place the flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any agenda additions? Commissioner Jenkins?
Thank you, Madam President. I want to make a motion to expand the agenda to discuss the possibility of moving our regular meetings that's set for August 6th to Tuesday, August 5th.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Please vote. This is just to expand the agenda.
What is the date on the meeting, sir?
The meeting is now scheduled for August 6th. We're talking about moving to Tuesday, August 4th.
Okay.
August 6th to August what?
Is that passive? Any other agenda additions? No commissioners? Administrative report?
No. Yes, Madam President. Good afternoon, Commissioners. We have a couple of reports today. Actually, we had Ms. Joe Rose scheduled to appear before you today. She is on the road, having some difficulties getting here, and she may arrive during the course of your meeting, and the President's aware of that. The second item we have for you today is Ms. Bryant will give an update on the port. She's prepared a report for you, and this time I'll let her go ahead and see what she has to say about that.
Commissioners, I placed at your station just a brief synopsis of the different issues that the port is currently addressing. We try to provide you a report quarterly. I usually give it to you verbally, but just wanted to put something in writing to you. If you have any questions when you get a chance to review it, I can try to answer any question or find the information if I don't have the answer. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Well, let me ask one.
Commissioner Pearson?
How many of these projects are creating jobs? That's what I look. I saw one. And how many jobs are going to be?
Well, the first two, the first one we talked about the jobs there. Those, the first one I think we have an estimate of around, because I didn't put the number in there, around 200 jobs, a little more.
300 jobs.
300.
With a potential to add 3 additional 100 jobs third year.
Right. The first investment there is $1 billion, and if they do phase 2, it'll be another $1 billion. Project Navigator, that's in the very early stages. It's estimated to be 180 employees. And then the second phase of Pratt is estimated to be 200 employees.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Commissioner Escaday?
Yeah, Ms. Bryant, while you're here, since you're updating us, could you give us a little brief synopsis of the discussion and the logic concerning the port's roll forward of property taxes this past year?
Yes, sir. The port has a 2.5 mil property tax millage. They can only, unlike the parish, they cannot go out to increase that 2.5 mil. It has to stay at 2.5 mils. That's what the voters approve, and it cannot increase above that. So their logic is that the voters and the legislature deemed that 2.5 meals was enough for the poor, and that 2.5 meals should stay constant at 2.5 meals. And so that's really the basis for rolling forward, in addition to using the additional revenue for projects that otherwise couldn't be funded.
Okay, so you're saying that they're going to constantly adjust or assess each individual's property as it appreciates. Is that what they were doing, adjusting it? I mean, they were losing revenue. Why didn't they just roll back?
They didn't roll back because when the millage was first approved, and then as outlined by the state legislature, they cannot go above that 2.5 meals. They can't go.
I understand that. I'm just saying, I view roll forwards as basically picking the taxpayer's pocket off the increased value of their home annually. You know, when the voters went out and supported the initial millage, they said, we'll give you this, and I know how it was proposed. It was $2 a year. Well, I'm using hypothetical figures, and it's going to raise us $10 million. Well, now it's raising $13 million or $14, or whatever it is. And I'm just, it's an equity thing, and it's out there. I'm just wanting to know, okay, let's see, I see this is going to be like maybe pulling a little bit deep. The port's in good financial shape. They have revenue sources from, including oil and gas royalty income. So, based on that, you know, why do they feel the need to increase that millage or that tax on the public? And that's basically what they're doing by rolling forward. I'm just asking a question. I'm not.
No, I understand your point.
Are they in dire straits? Are you not in good fiscal shape?
Well, I can't say that they're in dire straits.
Okay.
The money is being used to fund additional projects. Now, far as the 2.5 meals, those that look at it is that the voters voted on the 2.5 meals, not the dollar that the millage brings in. They voted on the millage rate, which was 2.5 meals. So that's how they look at it, that they're just maintaining the 2.5 meals that was approved by the voters.
Because they just want, okay, I understand. Was there a discussion, and this was last year, about the economic environment that was going on in this parish, the high price of fuel and energy, that the suffering was going on? Was there any discussion in regard to that before they decided that they had to have extra? I'm just asking what all was considered. Or is it just a money thing? It's there, so we're going to take it.
I would say
that the attitude? You can speak freely.
I will speak for myself, and that's not my attitude about it. That is not.
I know you well enough to know that's not your attitude.
That's not my attitude about it.
You're John the Baptist over there, maybe you and a couple other people.
Now, I would think, I can't speak for all the commissioners, but I would think that always we have the citizens in our best interest at heart. And I do understand that they are being taxed additionally by the port rolling forward, but the projects and the future of the port, they've deemed that it's necessary to roll forward.
Well, I want to know, I appreciate your efforts and your service on the committee. I think you're doing a good job. I appreciate your report. If this issue comes up again, I would remind them that eventually the tax is going to come up for renewal, or it's actually a new tax. It's never a renewal. It's going to expire, and they're going to want it again. And I know a lot of people, if this continues, they'll spend their personal money to ask why, make sure it may not happen.
I will remind them of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also, Commissioners, Erica and I talked earlier about perhaps getting Captain Murphy to come the next time to update us, so we can kind of rotate that.
I've already grilled him, too.
Oh, okay.
He's welcome to come.
Okay. Okay, did he survive, Commissioner? He's alive. Okay. All right, thanks. Ma'am,
let me just make it clear that Erica is speaking as a board member of the port,
right, that's
and
correct.
not as the finance director for Caddo Parish.
Correct. That's correct. Okay, ma'am, the last item we have, just want to kind of give you all a report, a favorable report from our visit to Standard & Poor's on Friday. We had the opportunity to present before the board the last issue of the $10 million in capital project bond money, and they were very impressed with the numbers and what's going on in our parish. And this, unlike other communities that come before them, we were in pretty good shape, and we have done a pretty decent job, a very good job, at managing the resources that we have. And our future looked very promising to them as well as to us. And they were most impressed with that. And as a matter of fact, I will tomorrow have a copy of the presentations for you at your stations that you would be impressed with the things that are in that in the presentation. But I think overall it went very well. I had a pretty good feeling leaving that session. We asked for a AA+ rating, which we'll be the only one in the state of Louisiana with that rating. And I'm very optimistic that we'll get that because we have exercised prudency and sound financial management over the affairs of the parish. We as a board as well as staff. So we all to be commended for what we presented at the hearing on Friday. Ma'am, that concludes my report. Unless there be any questions for me.
Okay, Commissioner Pearson, were you on from last time? I just want to make sure.
No,
Okay, Commissioner Pearson.
just want to,
Yes, sir.
not necessarily on the report itself, but I just want to ask, first of all, where are we with the communication about the financing of the roof? I think when we left the committee meeting, we were supposed to talk to our representative, and I was supposed to have a conversation with with my city councilman.
Oh, okay, I understand. From the administrative staff perspective, Commissioner Pearson, we did meet with the mayor, Randy and I, and asked them if they could finance this project without our help. And we were told that they would explore some alternative funding means, and about a week later, they came back to us and said that didn't pan out. So y'all are free to proceed with your initiative to repair the roof because we don't have the financial means and we're about to get it done. And that's where we are. And we are at the process of formulating perhaps an agreement as to how they would pay us the money back and whether it's illegal for us to use the capital bond money to do so. That's where it's at right now.
Okay, well, would you, I don't want to have a meeting unless we have something to have a meeting about.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling that committee, so would you prepare that information, and as soon as you have something, especially the information about how we can pay for it, and then have them pay us back.
Right.
That information, I wouldn't want to call a meeting and we sit up there haggling about that and we don't really know. And then once we have that information, we'll call a committee meeting and decide if we want to go forward at that time, with bringing it to because, we're talking about a short span of time. If we're going to do it, we were talking about getting it done during the fall of the year. So if we're going to do it, then if we have that information, we can call a meeting and make a decision about what we're going to bring to the whole group.
Yes,
the other thing is the adjudicated property laws have changed significantly, and I don't know about the rest of the committee. I think Sam asked a question and others have asked a question. I was privileged to be in a community meeting last week when what's in it? Carolyn Spike, is that her name?
Yes, Karen Spikes. Yes,
okay. She made a presentation to them about the adjudicated property that was just a lot of it just floored me because it was completely different from the way it was, the way it used to be, and it was just, floored me, it was confusing, because I thought I understood it pretty good. And so I would like for either that presentation or a presentation, if it's okay with the rest of the group, for them to make that presentation to us, because I know people are always calling me, wanting to know what do they do. And I would rather tell them, other than say, call Jimmy Whittington or call this number. I would rather at least tell them, here's what you have to do, and then they can decide at that point whether or not they want to go forward and call I'd like to have some education about that. I'd really like to know a little bit about it, so that we can have our citizens a little bit more informed. I think that's it. That's all I have.
Sure.
No, I'm not. But if not, I got a button up here.
Okay.
I like the way you push your button, too.
Commissioner
Jenkins.
I know you didn't say that.
Thank you, Madam President. I happened to be in Dallas, really on other business this past Friday, and had the opportunity to attend the meeting with Standard & Poor's, and I complimented our administrator and members of our management that was there on a presentation that they gave to Standard & Poor's. I just want to say to my colleagues, I was very proud of what they did. They did a fantastic job. And I believe that the representatives of Standard & Poor's that were there, I think they were very impressed with what they saw and what they heard. And I think they were also impressed with the fact that members of our commission was actually present when we were there making that presentation. So I just want to publicly salute Mr. Wilson and Ms. Bryant and Mr. Grubb and Mr. Frazier. Hope I didn't leave anybody out. Who was a part of the management of our parish for a very well put together presentation. I certainly hope that we will be able to get out of that what we were looking for, which I think was a AA+.
AA+.
And, they spoke very highly of Caddo Parish, and I'm talking about the representatives, because they're listening to all of these different municipalities and governmental bodies from around the country. They spoke very highly of Caddo Parish, history of Caddo Parish. They were familiar with it. They think and feel that we're one of the leading parishes in the state of Louisiana when it comes to fiscal responsibility and when it comes to the future outlook of our parish. So I just want to compliment you on that and say a job well done on that. And I'm glad that I had the opportunity to attend. I attended that not on the parish nickel. I want you to understand that I happen to be in Dallas on other business, and I took out the time to go, and I'm not seeking any kind of reimbursement for that. I kind of wanted to see what the process was myself. But I'm very, very happy that I did take out the time to go. So you did a great job with that, so I just want to say keep up the good work. And only on the second issue, I just want to echo what Commissioner Pearson said. This now makes at least 3 commissioners I know have asked about this adjudicated property. And the fact that we need to get this information simplified so that our citizens can understand how that process goes. So I just said I'm counting them. Yeah. This is at least the 3rd one I've heard say, let's put something together that we can put out there to our citizens so they have a good understanding of what the changes are. They can take advantage of that. Thank you, Madam President.
Commissioner Epperson?
My first question is directed to Mr. Clark in the absence of Mr. Kirkland. I received a letter. I don't know if it was just me, right, because it was in my district, relative to a situation with Belcher Reland Company. Are you familiar with it?
Yes, sir. I just got that information this afternoon. It appears that there were 2 cases, one in your district and one in Mr. Dominique's district, that were processed in the 2007 year, and we had a staff member that relocated to another location after her resignation, and these cases never were sent forward for your approval. So once this information was found out, we're sending them to you at this time. They're basically 2 years behind. They were just lost in limbo.
Okay. That's all I had. Yeah.
I didn't really understand. What was that about?
Pardon?
I didn't really understand what that was about.
Mr. Clark, would you explain it? There are 2 cases, I think, that should have been acted upon in 2007 that were
Right,
missed.
I'll give you the names of the cases. There was the case of the Northwood Hills Country Club subdivision and a rezoning at Bell Cherry that were done, it appears, back in October of 2007. These cases, once the MPC recommends the changes, these cases are forwarded on to the Parish Commission.
So will they be on our agenda?
They should be on your agenda
Okay.
tomorrow
Maybe tomorrow, because we're not on the...
for introduction.
Well, the first meeting in August, I don't think they're on.
Not on our agenda.
Yeah.
They're not. They should be for introduction. So I'm being informed
Okay.
tomorrow. But that's what happened. They just got lost and they were never acted upon. We're just trying to get them addressed at this time.
Okay, but they won't be on tomorrow. Okay.
No.
So I'm just letting you know, it won't
Okay.
be tomorrow, it'll be our next meeting.
I understand.
Okay. You finished?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clark.
Mr. Wilson, in reference to the situation with the cows that died,
Yes, sir.
did we ever get a formal explanation from whatever entity is entitled to as to what happened? Would this be something that be preventable in the future? Is this something that can happen anywhere at any time, just on drilling or after the drilling is complete, or what?
Commissioner Epson, just as things go, Attorney Grevin and I had this discussion earlier today, and I'm going to let him update you on where this report is at, where the status of this issue is at this time.
Commissioner Epperson, I know that Sheriff Prater met with representatives of the EPA and the Department of Natural Resources week before last, and we weren't in the meeting, so I won't characterize it, but they came up here and met with him. My understanding of the status of that particular case is that the EPA has completed their investigation of it, and it's currently in the hands of the Enforcement Division of the EPA to make a determination as to whether formal enforcement action should be initiated. And of course, so that's the only status I can give you of that. I will go ahead and say that that's one reason why we have in this proposed ordinance a very specific requirement that the sheriff is notified as a first responder when any of these events of this nature take place.
Okay. Whatever their final analysis is or reports, if we could we make sure that this body gets it? And then the written correspondence...
Their reports are not public record as long as they're still in the law enforcement...
Right, I understand that,
but
but
yes, sir.
Just keep us posted as much as we can be posted, whereas we aren't breaking the law.
Guarantee you that, sir, yes, sir.
That's it, ma'am.
Okay, Commissioner Lynn?
Attorney Grubb or Mr. Wilson, in the meantime, and then after this proposed ordinance, when it does pass, will it be the sheriff that actually is the prosecutor, I guess, if and when more animals, mammals, humans, cows die? And who is in charge? I mean, I was at a breakfast meeting. It seemed like nobody was that prosecutor, and with the ordinance that we're trying to pass, it puts it on the sheriff's shoulders. Who is that now?
It's not the sheriff's job to prosecute any offenses of any nature at all. It's the sheriff's view that he should be the first responder on the scene to secure the scene as a crime scene. And of course, that doesn't mean that there's always a crime committed, but the only way you can preserve the evidence of something is for law enforcement to be on the scene first in order to preserve the evidence. And that's what we're going to try to do. That's not what we're going to try to do. That's what's going to happen as a result of this ordinance that y'all are going to address next month. The state law requires that, or gives to the Department of Environmental Quality enforcement responsibility for violation of the state's environmental laws. And of course, the spills of hazardous materials violate those laws. So the way it would work is that the DEQ would basically refer prosecutions to the local district attorney, and the prosecutions would take place over in our district court.
Has that happened in the spill that killed the 17 cows?
No, sir. as I understand it, the last time the last discussion I've had with anybody about this was with the sheriff, week before last. At that time, they were still waiting on toxicology results to complete their investigation, and in the meantime, they had turned their investigative findings over to the DEQ enforcement arm. I'm not sure what it's called, to make a judgment as to whether any criminal charges should be initiated.
Is 3 months' time the usual time that it takes to get a toxicology report back?
I cannot answer that question.
Would you find out the normal time that it takes to get these reports? It seems like they're lost. Is Caddo Parish in our ordinance, will we have anybody that actually, so the sheriff secures it, and then we wait for the DEQ to show up while the site's being cleaned? Who with Caddo Parish would be there to inspect the site?
Well, maybe, you're doing the phone. I think the decisions still need to be made by the commission and the administrator over how that ordinance is going to be enforced. But I would not envision the parish trying to supplant its authority for that of the DEQ when it comes to investigations of environmental spills. But I would think that we would be responsible and interested in making sure that each incident got investigated and would follow up on them in a more formal structured means than we are now.
And so with that, we should expect that the DEQ would have an answer for us before the end of the year?
Hopefully.
Hopefully? And there's no one to ask them or make them give us answers, I guess.
Well, you're asking them publicly here for an answer, and you're also asking me to check with them specifically, yes. Commissioner Lynn, so that will happen, and I will report back to you.
Thank you. That's all, Madam President. Thank you.
Well, that's it, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I see no other commissioners. Can I get a motion to suspend the rules to allow visitors?
So moved.
All right. I did that little. Without exception, Ms. Najeri Kamara. State your full name and address for the record, please. Looking like a teenager today.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chairman and other members of the Caddo Commission. My name is Najeri Kamara with the Alliance for Education. Our address is 820 Jordan Street, Suite 485, Shreveport, zip 71101. I'd like to say good afternoon to you and express to you my appreciation for you affording me this opportunity to come back to this commission and give you a basic update on the action that you all took last March when we came to you and made a presentation regarding the Human Service District model that the Department of Health and Hospitals is moving forward with, and you appointed Ms. Josie Harris to serve on an investigative committee that we were successful in establishing in Region 7, where we had all 9 parish commissions to assign someone to serve on this investigative committee. And we're here again just to give you a brief update on the accomplishments. You should have been provided a report that kind of gives the update and the status of everything that we've done to date. Have you received that? That's going to determine how far we're going to what I'm providing you all with.
We have it?
Yes, ma'am. I'll provide you a copy of it, and I have a copy.
Oh, okay.
What about us? I will make you a copy, sir.
Okay, then. That tells me how to proceed with regard to the information that I'll provide to you today. But basically, in the copy of the report that you all will be receiving, we've included basic information that tells what has transpired within the meetings. We have been successful in having 3 meetings since we originally came to you, and the basic findings that we have, and you'll have in your packet, we provided you with copies of all of the agendas that we had, the sign-in sheets. You also have in that packet a logic model. It covers 4 phases that the Department of Health and Hospital has outlined that regions are to process through in developing the Human Service District. And again, it is going to be about a 3-year process that we'll be looking at in establishing this district. But basically, the establishment of the district is already a mandate. So our region, we do not necessarily have a choice about the matter. But the district itself, it would in fact remain a state entity, but it would just be under local governance or regional governance, where each of the parishes, of course, will appoint someone to serve on that governing board, and then the governor himself will have the ability to appoint 3 at-large individuals who will be from the region. Next, the district, there are no actual mandates for or commitments of local resources on the part of each parish, so you won't have to worry about coughing up money. It just depends, once that board is established, as to the services that we want to provide. However, I can say that that board will have the opportunity itself to pursue funding outside of the normal funding that those 4 program offices get from the state. And you'll find in that report that we've looked at the amount of funding that the 4 program offices, and we do have, neglected to mention, we have the regional managers here, Ms. Trudy Abner with Office of Addictive Disorders, Jerry Perry with Public Health, and then Ms. Wendy Gold is here with the Office of Mental Health, and also Office for Citizens with Developmental Disability. But the total funding for those 4 program offices that comes into our region for the fiscal year 08 was a little over $78 million. So we're not sure at this point. Perhaps the regional managers can respond to what their 09 fiscal budget is. We have, as a group, submitted a letter, made a formal request to the Department of Health and Hospitals to provide us technical assistance from DHH. And I can tell you all of the members of that committee, in fact, did sign off on the letter, and that department, the Department of Health and Hospital, has appointed Mr. Russell Seaman to serve as our technical assistant individual. He was here last presentation to provide guidance. But Mr. Seaman also serves on the committee that established the readiness criteria. As you review through the report, and you'll see the logic model in terms of the stages that the regions have to go through, that there are certain conditions that must be met prior to DHH determining for itself that this board is ready to take on the responsibility of managing those program dollars. Also, as you review the report, you'll see that there were several questions that these committee members had that were, of course, germane to their own respective parishes. However, we believe that those questions as well could kind of cross parishes depending on who may necessarily be in the audience. And so, as I stated, Russell Seaman was appointed to be our technical assistance individual from DHH, and I can suggest to you that when you look in that, read that report, those questions that are posed there, Mr. Seaman has already submitted those questions to DHH legal for official response on that. And then also we've determined that your Regional Police Juries Association will be meeting in Red River in October, I believe it is, but we've made a request to be on the agenda, and we will have our representative from this committee as well as the DHHTA technical assistance individual will be available, where all of the elected officials from the police juries and commissions will be in attendance, can hear the same questions or hear the same responses rather to questions, and then ask questions that you have as well. And I would suggest that if you have in your reading, if you have any specific questions, you can submit those questions to me or directly to Russell, and we'll work on getting those responses to those questions. And then ultimately, after that October meeting, we're hoping that the elected officials in all of the parishes feel sufficiently comfortable with where we are with regard to the information and then the actual impact and benefits that establishing the district will have, such that by the 2010 legislative session, we may be able to request funding of the legislature to support the work of moving forward with establishing the district, because as I indicated, the logic model that they provided, there are 4 phases, and so they've got it designed that it may be a 2 to 3 year process. And so currently, there's no funding available that's supporting this work. And 2, moving in that direction of a human service district has to be community driven, and the Alliance for Education took on that role because we see the bigger benefit that can be gleaned for our region by us establishing this district. And so that's why, of course, we've been kind of footing the bill for the work that has been done, but we're happy about what it is that we've done, and we just wanted to be here to give an update to you and to answer any questions that you may have at this time, or follow any directives that you may want to provide to us.
Excellent presentation. As long as it doesn't cost us any money, we're happy.
Underscore that.
That's the bottom line.
Okay.
So at this point, the next juncture is the meeting in October.
Yes, ma'am.
And then after that, you'll be coming back, I guess, to update us at the end of the year?
Well, actually, it would be, we would hope that the police jurors and commissioners during that meeting and your discussions, you all will determine where we're wanting to go with it. It has to be done by the governing board. Even though we're a committee, we're here to kind of do the research and give you the information to make the decision and moving forward. Our thing would just be the timing because it is state mandate. So actually, we don't have an option. It's just a matter of us kind of moving forward with it. And I could just tell you we are behind the rest of the state.
Okay. And so the group that's leading there is basically in an advisory capacity?
Right. This committee that I'm reporting
for. The person that we appointed was just to kind of help with this, but the actual board member, is that a separate appointment?
Right. The actual board member will be, I could just tell you briefly.
Not that it wouldn't be the same person, but I'm just saying that the official board is not the person that we appointed. We just appointed a person to be a part of the committee. Right,
because we wanted all parishes to be kind of like in the beginning, a part of all of the discussions from the very onset. And where we are now, Commissioner Lynch actually is in the very first stage, is the preparation stage, and then the next point after that was to make that formal request for technical assistance, and then after that, so the meeting in October, once we have that meeting, the next step would be a letter of intent. So it would be coming from the region, the letter of intent that all parishes in the region are interested and on board, and we're ready to move forward with establishing that district.
So who are you all talking with at the state level, the police jury?
The police jury?
Yeah, you're saying the regional meeting that's in...
Oh, but that suggestion came from one of the individuals who's serving on this investigative committee. The discussion came from Mr. Fred Jones of DeSoto and Mr. William Ruffin from Sabine.
Okay.
They suggested that would be, because both of them serve on their police juries.
Right, okay.
And they believe that as elected officials, the actual elected officials needed to hear the information and be able to ask questions themselves. We're just kind of covering some of the groundwork on it for you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Cox?
When are we going to get some paperwork in hand that kind of tells us who, what, when, and where?
Tomorrow.
You know, with regard to what we've done, or the
outline of what you're going to do and the services you are going to perform. And, you know, just because somebody asked me right now, Human Service District, I have no idea.
Well, I could just tell you, when we came back in March, we had provided you a packet that showed like all of the services that those 4 program offices provide and what they're responsible for. And then this report that you're going to be getting very shortly from Mr. Wilson is going to contain, it had a little bit more information for you that you could see the role a little bit more clearly than me trying to go through it today.
Because the Baton Rouge is promising you anything?
Well, no, only thing Baton Rouge did for us was officially assign someone to help us.
Anytime they officially do something, that means you need to watch out.
Well, that's why we're here. We're kind of trying to watch it out for you.
Bottom line, we're not trying to be picky here, but bottom line is, every time Baton Rouge does something to mandate,
yes, sir,
we get the short end of the stick. And I don't want to see that with your program.
Well, definitely, and if you'll pardon me, really, it's not my program. It's the mandate of the state, Department of Health and Hospitals in terms of their governance model. However, I can just tell you, your sentiments have been echoed, over and over again by other police jurors, other people that serve on jurors and serve on the juries in other parishes. They're concerned as well. They're not confident in the mandates that come from Baton Rouge, that they don't have to, assign some dollars to
Just keep us updated as far as some literature, that'd be fine with me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Pearson, I think that's your commissioner, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
We're so sorry.
You need my to teach more than long. Do you expect when Region 4 meets in October, you expect them to make a decision on some type of decision on a letter, a resolution of some kind supporting?
Actually, Mr. Pearson, at this time, we don't really have an agenda as to the outcome because, to me, the elected officials are the determinants on that. That's why we're trying to come before all of you collectively so that you can hear and determine yea or nay. But yes, sir, we would desire that the commissioners and police jurors pass a resolution saying that they're supporting our move toward that human service district model.
It's best, the reason I ask, it's best to make that request because the Region 4 is more of a business meeting than it is a forum. I mean, they have,
right.
So, I mean, it's kind of a business meeting. They elect people and that kind of thing for the next year and some other information. So I would suggest that whatever you needed for them to act on, if you make that request, whoever's making the presentation, to make that request up front so that at least, who is it, Jones is going to be the president this year, isn't he, from Red River?
No, that's Jesse Davis in Red River.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you that his representative, Ms. Deborah Zimmerman, she's a parish employee there, and she indicated that she knew that they weren't going to give us a very long period of time to share. So we understand that it's a business meeting and not a forum.
I just want to let you know.
Now, I would ask that if you suggest to me, in terms of a resolution, which we desire you all to do that, but would you suggest that we draft it, or once the presentation is made, then come up with something?
It would be good if you draft it.
Okay.
And then they would vote on whether or not they, you get him, Jesse Davis to ramrod that, because he's going to be the chairman. And so, he's going to be running the meeting. So get him to ramrod that and touch bases with everybody. And so that, we'll support it, the resolution, as long as we don't have to give up $1,000 or two.
You may have to. I'm just saying the long run. In the long run.
I know you.
Drop balls everywhere.
Okay.
Commissioner Lynn?
Nigeria Kumar, I wanted to thank you for all the efforts that you do and all the hard work that you do in kind for Caddo Parish, and that your efforts are very appreciated. Thank you.
Always work hard.
Commissioner, I'm sorry. Mr. Wilson?
Thank you, ma'am. Nigeria, I just had a question. I understand the board is going to be overseen by a CEO.
Correct.
And then a staff.
Yes.
To go along with that. Who's going to pay for that?
That's the whole point, Mr. Wilson, what I was sharing earlier, looking at that logic model and so forth, where I told you if this region is able to get to a point where we do in fact pass a resolution, and then we would notify our legislative delegation that we're needing money for administrative costs. Because right now there is none other than what the alliance itself is putting up to do the work.
So if the state didn't appropriate any money, then it doesn't go forward?
They don't appropriate the money except and unless you submit the letter of intent that you're moving forward with establishing the district. Then they give you that money to do that groundwork, and cover the administrative costs. The board itself, once that board is set, then that board hires their CEO. And those 4 program officers, those regional managers, will come under the authority of that CEO.
So that money will come from the state to pay the CEO and the staff salaries?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's currently all of the same dollars. That's why I shared with you what their '08 fiscal year budget was for the 4 program offices, in total, although we do have it broken out in the report, what each department has, but that 78+ million is currently comes into this region.
My last question, sorry to belabor this, but if there is an appeal process that the board makes a decision and the citizen really does not like the decision, where does the citizen go to appeal it?
You said that, what now?
If the Human Service District makes a decision on the placement of services, if the citizen feel that their area is not being serviced, what's the appeal process for that citizen?
All of that, Mr. Wilson, would be handled through the policies that are developed. Once we get into that, establishing that process, I told you got 4 phases. So the policies and all of that comes after the letter of intent and so forth.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Madam President, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I have no other cards. Entertain a motion to go back into regular session.
So moved.
Great job. Appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Communiques and reports, Commissioner Dominique.
Just wanted to advise everybody that the Parks and Recreation Committee will be taking its next tour on August 11th. We'll meet here at 9 o'clock. So please mark your calendar. I'll get something out to you or get Ms. Vita to remind everybody, but that'll be just around the corner. So the Park and Recreation Committee or any other commissioners that would like to attend the tour of the southern park.
Commissioner Pearson got the donuts this time. Thank you.
You'll eat them all.
Any other communiques, Mr. Sears?
I have none, ma'am.
Mr. Rose, I think, is here now. Give you a few minutes? Okay, no problem. Thank you. Next item, Mr. Spears.
Old business, I have none on the agenda. New business, ordinance, I don't have my bright glasses, so ordinance 4901, issuance of $10 million general obligation bonds.
Move to Thursday? Tuesday? Move to Tuesday.
Second.
Moved by the Chair, second by Commissioner Epperson. Any discussion? Please vote. That passes. Next item?
Yes, ordinance 4902, and your general fund budget for consultants to help acquire stimulus funds.
Move to Tuesday.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Jenkins, second by Commissioner Escaday. Commissioner, I'm sorry. Y'all look so much alike. I'm sorry. Commissioner Thibodeau.
Yeah, somebody remind me why it's necessary to pay somebody $50,000 for this. Why do we need to do this?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'll be glad.
Anybody that knows the answer. Well, hold on. This matter. Okay. Matter of procedure. It's Commissioner Jenkins' ordinance. I think you'll be the one to speak to it. Or is it the administration's? Whoever has the answer. Well, I understand, but, is this coming from? Okay.
Can I speak on it, Madam President?
Yes, if you made the motion.
Thank you, Madam President. You may recall, we formed an ad hoc committee to deal with the IRA, and that committee has met on at least 2 or 3 different occasions, and we have also met with our administrator on those occasions to discuss our efforts. We previously passed a resolution authorizing the administrator to get some technical assistance to help us with it. Our best chance of success is to have someone involved, number one, who can deal with the technical aspects of putting together the application itself. If we're going to go forward with this effort, we want to have some success with it. The application process, understanding what that process is all about, and the information that's required to have some success with your application. Remember, everybody's sending these applications in. We needed someone with the technical experience, and this is what Mr. Hoffman will bring to the table. The second part of what we needed was someone, once that application is done, is to kind of maneuver it through the bureaucracy up in Washington, D.C. This is what Ms. Stewart would do. Now, I want to amend the the ordinance. We don't feel like we need 50,000. We're looking for 25,000. That's to handle the remainder of the year. It may not take all of that because Mr. Hoffman is my understanding of what he's going to do is some of the fees that will be paid to him is going to be a result of what he recovers out of this. Some of them upfront money we have to put up, and then Ms. Stewart has a contract that has some obligations that we need to fulfill. So, I mean, there's a possibility we may not need the whole 25,000. But my point to you is we need enough of a cushion, but we don't have to keep coming back. Hopefully, we can have this work done. Remember, these are some moves that got to be made in somewhat short order. You got to get the application done. You got to get it into the hands of the right people. You got to see it through. You don't have a lot of time to do this. We initially started trying to do this in-house. I think a good effort was made. But I think this commission, when we sat down and looked at where we were, where we was trying to go, this would be much too burdensome to put on our management here and put on an employee who is only going to be able to deal with it on a somewhat part-time basis. So if we want to make a serious effort at bringing in some dollars, we're going to have to make some commitment to get some people involved who can assist us with the application process and with the maneuvering that has to take place up in Washington, D.C. to get this done. That's why I relinquish now. I want to allow Mr. Wilson an opportunity to talk about it because we did authorize him to go out and find some people to assist us. We don't need to give him authorization now, but now we've got the people we feel like we need. We're not, going to compensate them because it's going to be, it won't be worth the effort of trying to hold these people to the table. So that's, in a nutshell, where we are and what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay, let me just clarify what your motion is.
Right.
When you moved it to Tuesday to amend the budget, on the agenda it's 50,000. So are you moving
to amend it to 25? Yes.
Okay, so
still 50.
Okay, so I need you to restate your motion.
Okay, my motion is to move this to Tuesday and amend the sum that we need to 25,000 for the year 2009.
Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to
say. Got it.
Mr. Wilson?
I mean, Commissioner Jenkins stated it very well, and just want to reemphasize that we went after the best we can get, knowledge-wise, skill-wise, to help us navigate the sea of the bureaucracy to get to the bottom line where we can bring some money home. And Mr. Bruce Hoffman is the best who's been used by other parishes. He has the best game plan, and we met with him a couple of times. We met with him today for 2.5 hours over the phone, and he's been very responsive to us. So we need that help, and we also need the other component to go with that. All this doesn't go to one person. Mr. Hoffman's money is going to come out of the grants that we receive. He gets a portion of that. And then the other arm of that is on the national level. We're trying to get direct appropriations to us, but we need to work that. As you probably recall, Ms. Morgan came before you all 2 months ago, and we asked specifically, does she have any IRA experience, and she said no. So that's why we felt it important enough to create synergy between the national level and the local level, with Mr. Hoffman actually doing the paperwork for us and getting some attention at the national level to get impact, feedback, as well as action to make sure this thing works for us. And that's what we're trying to do here. Did I answer your question, Commissioner Thibodeau?
Well, partly. Do we have some specific needs in mind?
Yes, sir.
We believe we have a legitimate chance of getting money for?
Yes, sir. The starting point is the stimulus package that we had put together as an organization. We had $330 million of various items we identified, and we reiterate that today with Mr. Hoffman. This is where we want to start, but we want to consider any and everything that we're eligible for, from juvenile to the USDA to energy efficiency. Whatever the gamut is, we want to be at the table and wherever we can qualify for and be a part of. But the starting point is the package that we presented to you all, as well as to Mr. Hoffman, as a starting point.
That's all I have.
Rita, if I can get, and Commissioner Lynn was from last time as well.
They want to consider changing.
Commissioner Dominique?
Commissioner Jenkins and Mr. Wilson, answer my question.
Commissioner Escaday?
I'm going to support this. Mr. Wilson had shared some information with me beforehand. I like this approach. We'll have a full-time grant writer from Slidell working on all these projects. It costs us nothing. He only gets paid if he delivers. And the other money, from what I understand, is a $4,000 a month flat fee to a heavy-duty Washington lobbyist who's specializing in this, so we can hit them from both ends. So the most we could be out is $25,000, and if they get us 26, we're $1,000 ahead. So, but I think they'll be much more successful in that. And I think there's a good balanced approach, and my concern with it has been answered because I wanted to go and get outside of our little parish here and go get some heavy hitters who need this, because this is a brand new ball game for everybody, and I'm satisfied that this would be a good program. Thank you.
Let me just say that we were on as Mr. Wilson said, a conference call this morning for a couple of hours with Mr. Hoffman, and the committee has been meeting, and I think this is the second conference call that we've had over the last couple of Mondays, just to make sure that we're on track with having a plan and with executing our plan. And we spent a lot of time talking today about this water utility district, and we've all been talking about water for the last several years. And we see an opportunity with the ARA money that we can speed that process up and be in a position to get something to our Baton Rouge legislative delegation for next session. And so, out of all the priorities that we identified in our package that we provided, that is like the key priority. The other thing I want to say is that we became familiar with the firm that we'll be using out of D.C. While we were at one of the NACO conventions in D.C., and so that's something, one of the benefits, I guess, Commissioner Thibodeau, of being there. Yeah, we're going to show you the money. We're going to do that. We don't go to Plan B, but certainly we feel that we've put together the strongest plan that we can put on the table right now, and we've been successful so far in getting in moving this parish forward, and I anticipate that we'll be successful in getting some ARA dollars to help us move even further down the road. So, thank you. No more discussion. Please vote. That passes. Next item.
Yes, Resolution 36 authorizes the state to advertise mineral interest of the parish as requested by Classic Petroleum.
So move.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Pearson, second by Commissioner Smith. Mr. Glass, I know you called me back. Whose district is this property in?
This district.
Okay, thank you.
Means we're going to hit big. What's your cut?
Thanks for sharing it with us. Please vote.
Dangerous comment.
Just a moment, please. Okay, thank you. That passes. Next item.
Authorized travel for commissioners to attend the LPJBC Annual Empowerment Summit in New Orleans in August.
Move to Tuesday.
Moved by Commissioner Jenkins, second by Commissioner Epperson. Any discussion? Commissioner Jenkins?
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to have the support of my colleagues for those of us who wish to travel to New Orleans for this Empowerment Summit. I have provided each of you with a copy of the agenda for this meeting that's going to take place, issues that will be discussed, and the seminars that we will be attending. A reason for that is because I want you to know this is an open invitation to any person who wishes to attend. I know that there is some concern, and some has been voiced to me about the fact that this event is being sponsored by the Black Caucus. I want to make something perfectly clear. I can only speak for myself, and I think I speak for hopefully everyone around this table. I would never be a part of any organization that would exclude someone because of the color of their skin. I would never do that. And I don't think that any of my colleagues would do that either. But you cannot change things from the outside. You have to change things from the inside. As you see on page 2 of this, a number of us are going to be going into leadership positions with this organization. I believe a lot of information come out of it that help us to have a very broad scope of what we need to know and resources that we can put our hands on to represent our districts as a whole. So this is not an exclusion of anyone. You're perfectly welcome to attend, and I think when I first got the information, I made sure everybody got an email. I said that you're perfectly welcome to attend this event. But I would like to have your support. I'll be going in as president of this organization. I know there are some things that I would like to address, and it may start with the name, because we don't want to give the impression that someone is being excluded. That name was there when I came along, and just about every governmental entity you named, they took a name, had some caucus that they call a black caucus. So I hope that we will not allow that to offend us, and I certainly hope that we will not allow that to make someone think that they're not welcome to be a part of the organization and what it is we are about and what it is we are wanting to do. So with that, I would like to have your support to allow us to go down and to travel and attend this. Hope to come back with the presidency in my hand. And there are many other members here who are going to be taking on some leadership positions. So Shreveport will be very well represented in this organization. And part of what we also do is we work very diligently with the Louisiana Police Jury Association as a whole. We like to hear the things that we have to say, and of course we support the things that the Police Jury Association supports. So with that, Madam President, those are my comments. I meant it with all sincerity, and I'd like to have your support on this.
Any other commissioners, please vote. That passes. Next items.
Authorize Ashley Hadwin, President of the Suspo Student Government Association, to be on the agenda as a visitor tomorrow.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Wentz, second by Commissioner
Jenkins.
Lord have mercy. Jenkins, and let's change that to Susla. Please vote. That passes. Commissioner Jenkins, your agenda addition.
Thank you, Madam President.
I just have a comment when you get to that point.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to bring to the Commission's attention that our meeting on August 6th is a very important meeting. When I last talked to my colleagues here, I believe there may be 7 of us that's going to attend this meeting in New Orleans, which start on August the 6th. I don't believe that leaves a quorum here to take care of business. I believe on that agenda is going to be the bond issues that we are needing to take up, that information there. I don't know if moving the meeting from August the 6th to August the 4th presents a problem with that. It does. Then we inquire what the problem is.
Commissioner Jenkins, the bonds that we're issuing, we're advertising that the bids will be open August 6th, and then that the commission would vote on that particular ordinance on that day. We've already printed the official statement, the preliminary official statement. We've already got the notice ready, and this is the bond attorneys in New Orleans. I called them once you put that item, once you made the agenda change, to see if there would be an issue with the meeting being on the 4th, and it is a major issue if we change that meeting from the 6th to the 4th because of the bonds that we're trying to issue.
Well, I just withdraw that. We just need to leave the meeting on August the 6th and try to make sure that we have a quorum of commissioners here to take care of the business of the parish. I'm going to put that before getting down to New Orleans. If I have to be here, I'll delay my trip. we'll do what we got to do. We just withdraw that, now, if I may just withdraw.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Rose?
Good afternoon.
It's a long drive from Baton Rouge.
Glad you got here safely.
Good afternoon, I'm Joe Rose, your lobbyist. And I just wanted to bring you a little bit of my final report. I sent you all a copy and hope you've had a chance to review it. I just wanted to add a few things. There were several that the police jury and you were following that had passed. There were at 61 constitutional amendments that were proposed during the last session, and just 6 made it through the session. There were also a number of the sales tax or the property tax roll forward issues that were proposed, and the only ones that made it through were just ones for minor adjustments to what you will be doing if you decide to roll forward on the taxes. Most of them dealt with unelected officials. The bill dealing with allowing contract limits for public works projects from $100,000 to $150,000 went through. They started off at $200,000, and the AGC just was not going to allow it to pass. So they amended it back to $150,000, and it passed. Also, the mineral service tax revenue that was on the last constitutional, there was a constitutional amendment that was placed on the ballot that failed. And they felt that it was because of the language in the amendment. So this time, the language is supposed to say there is no increase in taxes, it's just a redistribution, and they hope that that will pass. But I think that most people felt that it was an increase in their taxes. There was also an increase in the wireless phone service. It was amended down to 2%. They wanted to make sure everyone participated in the 911. So that was amended down. There was an increase, finally, that passed from the bid limit for purchases of materials and supplies from $20,000 to $30,000. And it leaves in place the law that allows for 3 quotes between $10,000 and $30,000. And there's no requirements for under $10,000, and it takes effect August 15th. The red light district, the red light issue, whether or not a city or a parish could have cameras at red lights, took up a lot of time at the legislature. And, you know, there are various places that have it. Baton Rouge is one. And the issue sort of was, do we allow local governments to have the authority to do things that they feel are necessary for safety issues? Because they kept saying that that local governments were doing it just for the money. And several firefighters and police officers came in and testified saying, it's a safety issue. It really is, and in Baton Rouge, it really is a safety issue. And we've noticed that at several intersections that were really bad on traffic accidents and stuff, when they put up the cameras, the accidents went down a lot. So that issue will come up a lot. If there's anything that you're interested in implementing further down the line, you need to talk to your legislators and let them know that this is something that should be a local issue, because that will come up. And the roll forward on the taxes will come back every other session. That's just something you're just going to have to battle forever. Let's and the bill dealing with how a tax is assessed. What is movable and what is immovable, that was dealt with a lot, because if something is immovable, it's taxed for repairs. If it's not immovable, if it's not immovable, it's not taxed. And so what they were doing was trying to define what is a component of an immovable, what can be taxed and what cannot for repairs. And that bill was defeated, but that will come back too. And what's important is if you have, like a ship, several years ago, a tax dealing with ships was passed saying that any component of a ship that's attached is immovable. And there's a lot of things that, all kinds of repairs and work that's done to a ship that had been taxed before. And a lot of this had to do with Plaquemine Parish in that area, because they were really trying to tax everything. They said, everything that was not absolutely attached to that ship had to be taxed for any kind of repairs. And they were making millions of dollars off of it over several years. And a lot of the ship captains came to the legislature and said, that's not something we should do. But it could be a building, what's attached to a building, if it's repaired, a sign, any of that. So that was defeated, but you might want to carefully look at some of those bills during the next session. And, let's see, last one. Term limits. There were several bills dealing with term limits for local elected officials, and they were defeated. There was one that dealt with every time a parish or city master plan was adopted or amended, it had to be advertised and published, and that dealt with New Orleans. New Orleans, what happens, anything that happens in New Orleans that's bad, the legislators in Jefferson Parish decide the rest of the state has to pay for it. And so there's all kinds of bills that deal specifically with New Orleans but affect the rest of the state. And trying to narrow them down so that they only apply to Orleans Parish takes a lot of effort, a lot of negotiating. And excuse my voice. I'm sorry. But I do want to take this time to thank you for inviting me up, coming home. It's great. And the only time I get to come here, it seems like once a year to here. And so much has changed. It's just amazing. Shreveport is really doing a lot of good things, And I want to take this opportunity, too, for thanking you for allowing me to represent you. It's been a great honor. This is a wonderful group, and I want to thank you. But I want to also let you know, like I did a couple years ago, that a lobbyist is not effective unless the people who she represents or he represents are working and out there doing a lot of face-to-face talking with the legislators. You're the most important component in a lobbying team, and it is a team effort. And the more, thank you. You think it's just my voice? It's been a long trip, and you're almost the first adults I've talked to all day. Traveling up here with a 10-year-old is just, I even forgot my shoes, so I'm still in my driving shoes. Sorry. But it's been a pleasure, and I appreciate it. And you need to, during the interim, you need to stay in contact with your legislators, because they really do need to hear from you. They really need to know what is a local issue and what is a state issue. So keep up the good work, because you really are doing good. Because when I'd meet with the Metro Group on Wednesday, they'd say the Caddo Parish, certain members of the Caddo Parish had gotten in touch with their legislators. Bills that were coming up were, their legislators knew what to do and what the voice was. So keep it up during the interim, because we keep hearing that there's going to be special sessions.
And there could be several of them, because the budget is still, I'd like to say the budget is not budgeted. I mean, the governor still has a lot of work to do on the budget, and it's going to take a lot of effort, because they keep thinking that next session there's going to be even more of a deficit. So, be prepared.
Commissioner, we have a few commissioners that have questions. Commissioner Jenkins?
Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon, Mr.
Good
Ross. How you
afternoon,
doing?
Mr. Jenkins.
First of all, we certainly appreciate the reports that you've been sending us during the course of the
Thank you.
session. But when you come up, what I'm looking for is more than anything, what exactly were you looking at from the perspective of Caddo Parish? In other words, my understanding of the way this is supposed to work is that we have to provide certain matters that are going to be before the legislature that we want you to follow, and try to get the results that we want to get. And I know we can't always guarantee that, but to try to get those results that we're looking for. And what I'm wanting to hear more or less is, what were those things you were asked to look for during this session, and what happened to them? I know about, I think, STAR boot camp was one.
Oh, you're talking the fiscal issues. Yeah, the STAR boot camp and there were two projects.
You only given two projects to look at during this session for Caddo Parish?
That and we were following the appropriations bill and the capital outlay. But there was nothing in the appropriations bill. There was, I think, I think there was about $30 million in, it was in the supplemental budget. There was $30 million that Caddo Parish is supposed to receive. No, I'm sorry. That was total. It was $30 million total for all of the communities. I'm sorry, all local governments statewide. And the two, I can't even think. I'm sorry. The two projects that we were looking at was the juvenile. What was the other one?
Mental health court.
Mental health court.
The mental health court.
And I testified in front of the Appropriations Committee, and they were very receptive and said, but there's no money. We'll see what we can do. We'll place something in the supplemental budget if we can. But you have to understand that the state government is for state funds.
What were we asking the legislature on the mental health court? What was our request?
The amount was $75,000. $50,000. And the other was $100,000.
$275,000.
Okay, $275,000. I'm sorry.
I'm not trying to give you a hard time. Okay?
That's okay. That's all right.
I want to hear from you because you are there to pursue some matters for the parish. And I want to make sure in my mind now, just saying, that I understand what your goals were before the legislature for Caddo Parish this year. One was the mental health court, and you were asking for the $50,000.
Yes, sir.
Trying to get $50,000, and that was not funded.
No.
Okay. Now, what was the other? You said it was two.
The other one was the mental health court.
Star Boot Camp.
Star Boot Camp. Mental health court was one. Star Boot Camp was the second.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what were we asking for Star Boot Camp?
$275,000.
Okay, and that was not funded. Is that right?
That was not funded, no.
And were those the only two projects that was provided to Ms. Rose for this legislative session? Are those the only two things that she was to follow for us? I know there are a lot of general things that we were looking at, but that's not what we're talking about, right?
Well, there's a slight correction there, Commissioner Jenkins. The mental health court did get funded for $50,000.
It did get funded?
Yes.
Okay, that was funded for the $50,000.
Not the entire amount, right?
Right. Well, $50,000. Apparently, it was another $40,000 that was in it for the previous year that the governor took out the budget.
So it got funded for $50,000.
Yes, sir. And they had $40,000 left over from a previous year's funding that was deleted. That the governor deleted. Yes, he vetoed that part of it. So, in essence, $50,000. And in answer to your question, Commissioner Jenkins, I know you weren't here 2 Thursdays ago, Thursday before last. I put at your station a list of all the parties that we asked for the year, along with that listing that Ms. Lucky just gave you on the steps, on the digest for the adjudicated property program. So I will have to provide you that again, because I left at your station a listing of all things we asked for the year, priority-wise. We asked for 3 funding items. Then we asked for some help getting the jail site fund issue dealt with, which you know how that was handled. But we did lay out a priority listing of all of the items we want the legislature to help us on. We gave them copies of that. Even the ones who didn't show up, we mailed them all copies. So we did identify that, but we gave them that back in April. And we had talked in our last meeting, subsequent to this discussion, about perhaps giving them that priority listing sometime in November of the current year, as opposed to waiting until April of the legislative year to give that. So we're going to move that cycle up. But the list that we gave them is the same list that we asked Ms. Joe to work on as well. These were our priorities for the year. We give it to everybody.
Now, what results?
Yes, sir.
You're familiar with the list he's talking about? You're familiar with that?
Yeah.
Maybe not today. Maybe not today, but...
You know, remember when computers used to work with all the punch cards and you'd ask for a computer dump, which fed all the information down? That's kind of like what I did on my final report. So it's going to take... I remember some of them, yes.
Well, I'm just saying, I hate to see you come all the way up here now.
I know.
And, you know, if all you want us to get from you is paper, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you come up here, you know, we may have some specific questions about what happened.
I can tell you what happened. There was no money in the legislature for any non-governmental unit.
Okay.
The only ones that got in were the ones that some senators put in. And which program was it that was funded over that? Was the SPAR or the mental court? Mental court. Mm-hmm. That was a contract that Caddo Parish and the state entered into. It was a 2-year contract, 3-year contract.
I'm not sure.
It was a contract that the state and Caddo Parish entered into. It was in its first year. The money was received last year. All you wanted was to renew the contract for this year and next year. And they were saying that that was not possible, that they did not see it coming.
I see some other commissioners got questions, so I don't want
Okay.
I'm
sorry.
Time all the time, but okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, because you said you wanted a short meeting.
Always want one.
Ms. Rose, are there any other parishes or municipalities that you represent?
No.
Okay, just Caddo?
Just Caddo.
Okay. And I don't have our priority list in front of me, and I don't remember all of what was on it, but for this particular session, I guess I can ask you, Charles. We had 0 legislation, right, that passed. I know with some things we were looking to have done. And 0 money, is that we came... Basically,
we asked for 2 items we asked specific money for.
Okay.
One was the mental health court that we asked the $50,000 for and we got. The second thing was the Start Boot Camp, which we asked for, which we did not get.
Okay.
It's very probably more complicated than y'all want to get into, but there was another $40,000 for the mental health court that was reappropriated from last year's money because it was not spent up here from last year.
So is that included in that 50?
No.
Okay, that's separate.
And that money was put in the bill, but the governor vetoed that, and so we ended up with a net 50 or whatever you want to call it. That's the only cash money, if you will, that we asked for from the legislature. And the only local bill we had this year was the bill about that Joe mentioned about the
Public Works funds being raised.
Well, what is that fund there?
The jail site? The jail site
fund. And that bill basically never got filed due to an administrative error in getting the other part.
So let me ask you this. There were probably like 8 or 9 things on our list, though, wasn't it?
Yes, ma'am. The Public Works bill, which we had put on in 2008, was a request again in 2009.
Which would involve legislation.
Yes, ma'am, that passed.
Okay,
Because the first
that's
time
what
we were
I
trying to
wanted
get the Public Works Fund raised from $100,000 to $200,000, but it passed at $150,000.
Okay.
Last year, Robert Glass went down to testify before the committee.
Right,
on
I just
that.
want, I'm just trying to get them,
Okay.
okay. And so
Last year, we tried to do just for Caddo Parish. This year, it went statewide.
So you, and I don't know what I did with mine, but the information that you gave us last time,
Yes, ma'am, last
it
Thursday.
had it item by item, what happened on each one of those priorities that we gave to them in April?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah, I have it on my desk, and I can provide it again.
thank you.
And because I gave you all a copy a couple of weeks ago, but I'll provide it again.
Okay.
The white paper as well as the priorities.
I guess just before I move on, one thing that I think we were sitting at the table that Bill Altima said to us as we were discussing, this, we don't have any money, and what Bill said, which I agree with, he said, oh, they have money. It's just a matter of who they want to give it to. I mean, even given the tight financial situation of the state and all this, there's still a lot of money that passed through state government, that went to local government.
Yes, ma'am.
So at some point, Caddo Parish is going to have to come out with legislation and with dollars coming out of Baton Rouge. I know our delegation has the same challenges that we have with getting the money above I-10, but we're going to
The legislators who get the money, I'm sorry.
Right.
A lobbyist, all we do is the same thing you do, is tell them, this is what we need, this is what we would require. But it's the legislators themselves who bring that money home. And they have to hold positions of power, they have to be in the right place at the right time, and they have to ask for it. And some of them don't ask.
Well, thank you. Commissioner Cox?
One quick question. You said on the term limits,
Yes.
is that to defeat them to 4 term limits or against term limits?
Oh, no, that was for local.
Well, that's what I mean. How did those
Two
votes?
term limits.
Because most parishes I talked to, they don't have term limits. So what was
the deal? Because the legislators are only, they can only serve 3 terms, and they decided it's good enough for them, it's good enough for local government. At least the author of the bill did.
Oh, bless her heart.
Yes, I know.
Thank you.
Anything else? I'm sorry.
Commissioner Lynn?
Ms. Rose, did I hear you correctly when you said that the City of New Orleans master plan went bad and that they wanted the rest of the state to pay for it, or did I mishear you?
No, I probably misstated. New Orleans had a master plan that the legislators had approved. And so the mayor now revised the master plan and didn't tell anyone about it. And so the New Orleans legislators wanted to be advised. When the master plan changed, we want to know about it. And so they filed a bill dealing with that.
Do you know what aspect of it went bad? And the reason why I ask is that the same people that are doing their master plan are the same people that are doing our master plan.
No, it had something to do with the mayor and his relationship with the legislative delegation, and especially his relationship with Jefferson delegation. Because it seems like all the anti-New Orleans bills come from Jefferson Parish.
Thank you, Madam President.
Commissioner, Attorney Grubb? Oh, okay.
Move for adjournment.
Oh, no. I have two house cleaning things to state. If everybody could kind of. Commissioner Smith?
I'd like to remind everybody that the Natural Resource Committee will meet immediately after this in the room in the back.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Rose.
Thank you.
The last thing, thank you. We should know by Friday whether we're going to receive the AA+ rating that we asked for on this last $10 million in obligations at the fund meeting that we had with Standard & Poor's on this past Friday in Dallas. I want to ditto everything that Commissioner Jenkins said on our presentation and what what I said to the two folks that were there, who's going to meet with the committee to make the decision, is that there's sometimes when you want an A, there's sometimes when you deserve an A, and then there are other times when you've actually earned an A. And so I certainly think that with all of the strong financial management that the parish has, that we've earned, I guess, the right to have a AA+ rating. So you all keep your fingers crossed, your prayers, keep positive thoughts, because we will be the only parish out of 64 that will have that rating. So certainly that would be an honor for Caddo Parish and serve as further evidence that we're the best governing body in the state. So with that,
Move for adjournment.
thank you.